Hey everyone, Andrew from Liquid Proofs here. Today we are talking about one of the teas in the 2021 Sheng Olympiad, and that is the 2015 pressed Yiwu from Hangling Hao. This was purchased from Yunnan Sourcing. The very interesting thing about this and why I chose it is this tong right here was the first one I ever bought. Initially, it was going to be something for myself as I was getting into pu'er earlier on, just about 4 years ago. Now, what's happened since that time frame is a lot of discussion about storage and holding on to things. So what I've done is I've got my original tong here, and I purchased one from Yunnan Sourcing that we're going to have samples with 200 individuals and taste the difference for what I've stored in Ohio versus where Yunnan Sourcing is at. And the great thing about that is through Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and other outlets online, we are going to compare storage notes, storage habits within different parts of, in my case, the United States, and then potentially around the world to really see how we can take our teas that we've got now and potentially elevate them to our own taste preferences. The unique thing about this one, though, is even though it was pressed in 2015, the material is from 2012. Which, if you've talked to me before, there are certain years where the product coming from Yunnan, in terms of the picking of that year, is a little bit better than the others. 2012 was an exception above all. There was a lot of chatter, coming from the 2012 Wild Monk, if anybody remembers that production, and a lot of other different things from 2012 that got snatched up really quick from areas that I was buying early on, such as tea urchin. So here, we've got the original tong. This is my first tong, and I've kept it in my storage. So I'm going to get to share it with 200 individuals, and this is really exciting because I never touched this, I never drank it, brand new. I just want to open it, and we'll see what it looks like, and ultimately the best part about this is you get to smell and taste it alongside me, because I'm not trying this yet. I'm not trying it. It could be bad, it could be good. Who's to say what it's going to compare like to Yunnan Sourcing's more on the drier scale of the storage, where you can actually smell the dry aromatics of the sweetness that the Yiwu profile has. So really looking forward to this. Let's go ahead and open it up. So now the time has come to finally open this for the very first time. Now the interesting thing about this is even though it says 2013, Scott from Yunnan Sourcing did confirm it's 2012. And we'll see the stamp on it should be 2015. Now I could use scissors, I could go through and cut these apart, but I just want to look at the tong itself in terms of where it's at. This is one of the very first things that I would do, just to kind of look. I've had a lot of tongs that'll crack at the bottom. Everything looks to be in good shape. So now we will go ahead and we will unband this. Pull that out, twist that off. I'm going to put that to the side. I'll put all of them to the side and probably throw them in a fire just to burn. This one's stringy. And at this point, because of the cakes, they'll start falling out. I'm going to tilt it upwards here. Take that off. And we are down to the last one. Really quick to open that up. These aside, we now have 7 cakes. And as you'll see here, it says 400. These are 400 gram cakes, not the 357 that you would typically see or the 200s that we see today. This one's got a little bit of the indentation right there. Kind of see what it came from right here on the pressing and the wrapping. I'm going to put this one aside for the moment. Check them all out. Everything looks to be in order. So let's just grab one cake here. This is my picking tray. It's seen a lot of battle through the time. You can see all the pick marks. It's cracked. I'm surprised it's still in working order. And we'll grab one cake here. So, very simple. You know, if you look at this, you know, you'll see all the information. It is stamped with 2013, which was told to be incorrect. We got these nice little silver hair fiber things going on here, which I really enjoy. And we'll just open it up real quick, and I'll show you how I would potentially break this. So I will tell you immediately from doing the initial ones from Yunnan Sourcing, these have a more tint of a darker color all the way around. Now that doesn't mean that it's going to translate per se to the taste or the aromatics. Right now kind of smells like root beer, and that's due to root beer in my house. So I actually can't smell the aromatics on this due to the permeating root beer here. So leaves look a little bit darker. Take a quick smell. This has picked up a little bit of the notes that I would get from my Taiwanese stored puer. Now, for the Sheng Olympiad, people have always asked me about how they split cakes up. I'm going to show you my trick here. It might not be a preferred method that everybody's got. Some of you can have your own takes on this. This is how I typically like to do it. Typically the bing hole, I can actually push through this if I really wanted to. You can hear the paper. So right there. That's because there's not too much leaf on there, which is great. It means most of the content of the 400 grams is on the outer side here. So what I tend to like to do is when I was a child, we used to break sticks by putting it up against a tree and kicking it. I take it like this and I'm going to snap the cake in half. The other case is with this one, I realistically could just break it in half with my hand. But what I mean by that is I push it right here. And if I was to break a cake in half, that's what I'd end up doing. So in this case, it's pushing right against here and right against there. And it's going to break in half. So there we've got that portion. So the nice thing about that is now the naphi will actually wiggle out here. Give it a second. You can see how thin this is. I can actually pull the individual leaf out like that. So now when I'm working with this, there's one or two options that I can go about. I can use a pick and go into these areas and separate it, and I'll show you that. I'll show it with this one here, or I could kind of do the method that I've been using a lot of the times with my hands, because I try not to use these too much because I don't like really tearing the leaf up. So if you're going to do it this way, you would just push into an area like right here, and then what happens is you get a really beautiful chunk that comes off, just like that. Very easy, minimal damage that's happening here, and because you're going in the middle there, you're getting a really nice pick at it. At the other end, now, if you really wanted to, you could just snap off right there, snap off right here, really simple. My method as of lately has been to get a piece like this, knowing how the leaf is kind of interlocked like that, right? Or something like this, you know, however it is, interlocked in there, pushed down after being steamed. I take it and I get a feel for it. So first of all, I know all this leaf's going to flake off if I wanted to. So it's up to me if I want to just get these loose leaves. So I can add, you know, 1 or 2 grams here or there on top of the samples that I need to with some of the larger pieces. And you'll see like there's little its and bits that'll fly off. That's a really normal thing. So here's a good case, right? Beautiful piece that just wants to come off. We retain that leaf right there in full. Really nice. And this is just a beautiful chunk right here. So once I get most of the loose stuff off, which in this case, there's some pretty big leaf coming off, I just want to pull it apart because what will happen once I start handling this with my hand, it's going to snap in half. So here's where we get about where I want it to be. I'd probably take this off. And I'm going to put my thumb here where I've got that leaf holding on and grab this side. And I'm just going to take that leaf and I'm going to take it like this and I'm going to go like this with it. So in that case, I'm just going to do a nice little one of these. That leaf is now kind of going like that. And right there, I can pull right down the middle. And I'm separating portions where it was kind of steamed and pressed. Some of these hang on, but now I have a really easy section just to kind of, you'll take this, wiggle it out of the way, nice little piece with the leaf intact. Do the same thing here. Hopefully I can get it to kind of come apart. Yep, right there I'm separating where it's at and I'm feeling for it. So there's actually multiple different places happening on this. It's really hard to explain. Inside here, the leaf's interlocked right there. It's also right here and then crossway right here. So what I really want to do is I want to pull this piece off here and then pull this part off. And this happens a lot after you've broken a lot of cakes. You'll actually have a feel for kind of how the leaf is in there. So there's that under piece, like I said. Then there's this piece that's going to be laying right there. So I just kind of want to like push down like this. Yep. And this is something that, you know, I've come to after breaking, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cakes. So pull those leaves out. Get a feel for it. All right, so this leaf is going this way. This leaf is going kind of like that. So they're not interlaid the same way, but I can get a good chunk off there. And then this piece is going to be a little bit larger. This is probably about 19 grams. And what I need it to be is roughly about 12 for the Olympiad. So what I'll do is I'll kind of wiggle this, because I actually want this to probably be in about 2 pieces. Problem is this part right here is going to come off, this part's going to come off, this part's going to come off. So this is actually going to end up in 3 pieces, as I could feel it already. So there's the 2, and then the 3rd piece is coming off right here. There's actually a little 4th piece, so a small piece right there. So really basic, really simple. If you ever have any questions on this, I'd definitely give me a message and ask me how I go about this. A lot of times it's just feeling the leaf and how it's interlaid. When you've got cakes, it's a little different because of how they put it on top. It's normally going to be pretty straightforward. On, you know, your Jinsha material, you'll see as it kind of cones like this, it'll kind of wrap around. And if anybody wants me to do any more on kind of how I break up different pieces, let me know. Really looking forward to sharing this with everybody. You know, the leaf is looking really great. You know, you've got some golden threads in there. You got a little bit of silver, a little bit of darker tint. And for what it is worth, I think from the aromatics alone and from what I've got here, this will open up a lot of great discussions on Discord, and we will have a lot of fun tasting notes between the two that we've got.